So, welcome. My name is Diane. Everyone calls me Dee, so you can refer to me as either. And I work for Think Productive as part of the HQ team as head of learning success. So, I'm so happy to have you join us today. And we're going to be covering three elements. So, we're going to start by defining the Think Productive approach to the psychology of weapon savvy. So, you're here today for Microsoft, and we're going to peg that to one of our key ninjas. We're then going to all share a little bit about confusion that we're facing around Microsoft apps so that you can see lots of people are in the same boat. And then we're going to demonstrate some of our favorite tools that we use at Think Productive and hopefully inspire you to have a go and explore everything that Microsoft has to offer. So if you are a regular in our Think Productive world, then you have already met our 9 productivity ninjas, and you'll already know our weapon savvy ninja. So this ninja ensures you pick the right tool for the right job, but he also makes you step back and ask yourself, do I need an electronic tool for this task, or will a pen and paper suit the task and me better? So today, as we're going through some tools that we recommend you try, please don't be scared to ask yourself, is this the right tool for the job? And is it the right tool for me? It can be really draining and overwhelming having so many tools at our disposal. So hopefully today there'll be a bit of clarity for you. So let's start with a quick check. I would really love to know in the chat, how do you feel about Microsoft right now? So you could add a word, a sentence, or a phrase. If someone says Microsoft tools, what springs to mind in terms of emails, your calendar, Outlook, Teams, or any other apps? So I'm just going to give a moment for you to share on the chat what comes to mind and kind of what's going on in your Microsoft world. So too much to learn and use. These are coming in very fast, a mixed bag. There's so many of them. The word overwhelmed has come up. A feeling that I'm not using them efficiently has come up. Yeah, lots of hidden features that I may not know about. Absolutely. Someone saying there that they stick to what they know and don't really explore out of their comfort zone. Modern problems, too many options. Yep, we can empathize with that at Think Productive. It took us a while to really narrow down what was available and what we wanted to use. Deborah there saying they don't know what's possible. And a feeling that, yeah, I can empathize with this, Lauren, a feeling like you might get left behind if you don't learn. Lots of things are happening very, very quickly. So I hope you can see from the chat, I hope you've had a chance to scroll up and down it, that you're not alone. We're all in the same boat and we're all kind of diving into this world together. So you're definitely not alone. And if you're watching this recording back at home, please do reflect on some of the things that other people have shared that maybe you're experiencing as well. So today is our taster session from our newest workshop, Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas. And you've just shared in the chat that Microsoft doesn't always help us do our best work. It's been designed to make our lives easier, and it has so many features that can do that. Yet so many of our clients, and also you just now in the chat, tell us that all these applications designed to make our lives easier actually at times can feel like a barrier to productivity. Emails and Teams in particular seems to get in the way of people just getting their best work done. So today you're going to get some top tips from our 6-hour workshop. So it was really hard picking what to share with you today because we only have half an hour or so. But we've decided on three things to show you. So the first is we're going to introduce you to Microsoft To Do and show you some of the functionality there. We're also going to show you how your Microsoft Teams can funnel tasks straight into your Microsoft To Do, taking away some of that confusion of, was it Teams? Was it email? Where was that task I needed to do? And then we'll end with some tips to send an email with some extra kick. So hopefully that will address some of the things that came up in the chat for you. So let's kick off by looking at Microsoft To Do. So I'd love to know in the chat, how many of you have been using Microsoft To Do? Have you heard of it, but not really tried it? Never heard of it? Or do you use it every day and it's your best friend? So we're seeing, okay, so not heard of it, on and off, heard of it, haven't tried it. So a real varied mixture there. Some people have dabbled in it. I use it every day, but can't say it's my best friend. Okay. So a real mixed response there. Thank you so much for sharing. So in case you haven't heard of Microsoft To Do, it's included with your business Microsoft package, your subscription. So if you have a Microsoft email address through your organization, you should have Microsoft To Do. And you can download the app in your desktop if your organizational settings let you do that. You can also access it via the online app, and there's also an app on your phone as well. And the purpose of Microsoft To Do is to capture everything you need to do in one place. It connects with your calendar, your email, and Teams, making it a really effective second brain. We always say at Think Productive that your brain is best used for creativity and problem solving and collaboration, and that you should have a second brain to do all the remembering for you. So in case you're unsure where to find your online apps, if you put into any browser 365 login, you'll be able to use your work email and password to log in. And what you're looking for is the app launcher. That's those 9 little dots. I call it the waffle because I think it looks like a potato waffle. And think of the waffle as your Swiss Army knife. It opens up all the apps that you have as part of your 365 subscription. And just like an army knife, you can pick the right tool for the job. So now you know where to find all your apps. Let's dive in and take a look. So in the 4-day session, you'll be taken through Microsoft To Do step by step, and time is allocated on the day for you to build your second brain with groups and lists and add all your tasks. But from this screenshot, you can start to see already how groups have been set up on the left-hand side menu. So you can see inside my second brain that I have a group set up for work and a group set up for home. Some people don't like to mix home and work, and that's fine too. You don't have to have just one group for work. Depending on your role, you might have a group for marketing or finance or HR. But I like to have one group for work and one group for home. And it's really simple. You can see on the bottom right, just here, there's a little box, and that's where you add a group. And inside each group, you can create as many lists as you need. And you do that on the bottom left here, where it says new list, and then you can drag a list into any group you like. So you can see here that I make a list for all the projects I'm working on, but I also make a list for things like one-off actions, recurring tasks, tasks to delegate, things I'm waiting for. And I like a good ideas park as well. At Think Productive, we love a good ideas park. It's all the tasks you really, really want to do, but you don't have the capacity for. So if you're going to try to do, I recommend just scribbling out on a pen and paper how you want to set up your groups and lists, get it all planned out so that you can put it in once and you're not changing it. And actually, in our full day workshop, that's one of the pages in the workbook. It gives you a bit of space to do all that planning and thinking. And then inside each list, that's where you put your tasks. So you can see here inside my Launch Microsoft Workshop list, I have one task, which was to make the slides for today. So on the day I took this screenshot, that was my task. And you can see that it's dated, and it can also, using this star here, be marked as important. And once you date a task, it goes in your planned list, and you can open it up and see in date order everything that you said you were going to do on each day. So you can see here on the day that I took the screenshot, I had 41 tasks in total in my second brain, and 20 of them had dates on. So when I'm doing my reviews, my weekly reviews, I'm constantly going back, looking at any tasks without dates and saying, right, what's coming up? What priorities are coming up? What do I need to date or star? And you can date any of your tasks from any of your lists, and they will all appear for you. There's lots of other functions and things that you can do inside Microsoft To Do. You can share lists with your colleagues. You can add attachments to tasks, plenty of other things that can just help with productivity. But as a starting point, it's a really great idea to just start thinking about your groups, your lists, and your tasks. So I'd love to hear a little bit about what you think. If you've not seen it before, is it something that looks interesting to you, exciting? Are you going to have a bit more of a dabble? So I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Just give everyone a second. Okay, so the groups feature fix some of the issues I had with it before. Fantastic. Looks better than the app that you currently use. Keen to try it. So we've got lots of people thinking about, oh, we've got a question. Can you classify by urgency? You can. You can mark it as important, and then it goes here in your important list as well. And if you're watching at home, if you're watching the recording later on, um, then what we're getting a lot in the chat is there's things that I didn't know about. Um, Someone's asking a question, does it gather tasks from emails? Yes, it does. In fact, when you flag an email, this is where it goes. You might not know that. You might flag emails all the time, and they go here where it says flagged emails. So often the first time people go into Microsoft To Do, if they've never seen it before, they're really surprised because all their flagged emails are there. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the chat. So the next thing I wanted to show you, next on our checklist, is removing some of the confusion around Teams and showing how Teams can sync to your Microsoft To Do if you choose to use it. So we often hear people say in our workshops that they spend a lot of time looking for tasks because they can't remember whether it was sent to them in an email or a Teams message or a post somewhere on Teams. So I'm going to play you a 3-minute video that's taken from our Productivity Ninja Academy. So anyone who joins up to the full day workshop gets access to all of our demo videos, many more as well. Um, so let's take a look. This video will show you how you can take a request that someone's asked of you within Teams and turn it into a task straight to your Microsoft To Do. So we're inside the Posts tab at the moment, and a colleague has asked me, can I update the data sheet for last quarter for our department meeting next month? Well, that's a task, so I'd like to get it straight into my Microsoft To Do. And if I go to More Options, Create a Task, it will give me the choice of where I want to send it, and I'm going to send it straight to my task list for now. I can add a due date if I like, so let's make the due date today and add it as a task. Let's now look inside a chat. So my colleague has asked me, can I please send the updated brochure? Well, I need to do a bit of work on that before sending it, so it's a task. If I right click here, create task, in exactly the same way, I decide where in OneNote I want to send it. I can add a due date and add it as a task. And now if I open up Microsoft To Do, you'll see that both of those tasks are now waiting for me in my tasks, but also in my day, because I've dated them today. And then with any other task, I can do whatever I like to change the wording. I can add any more notes. It will take me directly to the Teams post if I ever need to go back to it. And then once I click away, the task is there ready for me to do. So I hope that was useful. I hope that's given you something to think about. Um, for me, it's something that's a real game changer. Can you do the same with emails? Email requests. I'm not sure what you mean, Ellen, by can you do the same with email requests? You can flag emails in the same way. When you flag an email, it will automatically go to your Microsoft To Do. A request from a manager, but over email. Yes, you can. You can send an email with a flag on it, and you can pick whether you want that flag to go for you or the person you're sending it to. So um if you flag it for yourself, let's make it easier with a scenario. So let's pretend um you're emailing a colleague and you're asking them, could you update the brochure for me by next Wednesday? And you want it in your second brain next Wednesday to remember to go in and just read over the new brochure. So when you send that email, you can flag it for yourself. So it goes straight in your second brain for next Wednesday. But you can also flag it to the person you're sending it to, and it will go straight in their second brain, in their Microsoft To Do. But I wouldn't do that unless you've got a prior agreement with your colleague, um, that they're happy for you to put things inside their second brain. Um, Otherwise, if you don't do that, once your manager emails you or you email a colleague, you can both put that inside your own second brain just by flagging. So there's plenty you can do just to make sure that everything is funneled into one place as well. And in our full day session, you'll learn how to do that, and you'll also learn how items from OneNote can also go straight in your Microsoft To Do, as well as items from Microsoft Planner. So there's lots of opportunities for you to work collaboratively with your teams and get everything you need to do into one place, just avoiding that overwhelm, making your weekly reviews much easier for you, um, and less like you're going to 20 places to check all your to-dos. So the next thing we're going to look at is how to send an email with Kit. So we're moving away from Microsoft To Do now, and we're looking at some of the features that Outlook has to offer. So have you ever sent a really kind of simple email? Which training session gets your vote for our next team day? A, B, or C? And then everyone replies with a reply all with their vote. And you can end up that everybody is getting 20 emails, reading what everybody else thinks should be the session for their next team away day. Within Outlook, inside the option tab, you'll find some voting buttons. Perhaps you've used them before, and there's something at Think Productive that we're starting to use more and more to cut down on email traffic. So let's have a look. So you can see here that by adding a voting button and adding a poll, just here using these voting buttons, you can create a poll that goes directly in your email. You can pick from a yes or no, or you can create your own poll. And once you insert your poll in your email, this is how it looks for everyone. They get a poll card inside their email. And a nice touch is that after they cast their vote, they can also see how many votes everyone else has placed. There is one catch to this. Microsoft, you may have noticed, has launched a new Outlook, and not all the functions are available and live yet, though they are coming. So if you can't see this feature, you can always toggle back to use the old Outlook just until the new one catches up. So today you've seen a very small sample of what's covered on our full day course. And I wanted to just give you a kind of overview of all of the features that we go through. So in the workshop, there's space for you to try these things, watch the demo videos, but most importantly, do some action planning as well. And if you come on that course with colleagues, if you were to do it as a team, there's some space for you to do some action planning together. So you can sit down together if you're in the same room or go in a breakout room if you're online and come up with a bit of a plan. How are you going to use Microsoft Teams going forward? How are you going to iron out what you use OneDrive and SharePoint and Teams for? And just give yourself some real clarity about where you keep all your files and which communication tools you use for which. So it's a session that is about real change on the day. It's not a passive session. You'll be doing action planning. And as I said, if you've got team members in the workshop with you, you can do some of that in a collaborative way as well. So if you want to find out more information about that session, you can always book in. We run it in two ways. You can have it as a full day session as an in-house workshop where we'll deliver it for your team. But we can also run the workshop as a public workshop. And we've got our first one coming up in June that we're so excited about. As it's online, we spread the 6 hours over 2 mornings just to ensure you don't get screen fatigue. It's really important for us. We want you fresh and excited And we'd love to see as many of you as possible in that public workshop. Um, if you come along, you'll have a chance to set up your second brain. You'll go into, as I said, Teams and SharePoint, OneDrive, OneNote. You'll explore Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Approvals, Microsoft Bookings, and just coming back to our original Ninja, our Ninja Weapon Savvy Ninja, you'll have the opportunity to decide which tools are right for me in my role. So lots of opportunity there for you to try out new things. So we always save um, some time for questions. Um, so the last 15 minutes, we'd love to have you stay, ask some questions. Um, not specific questions about kind of things like one note and things because we there's no way we're going to be able to cover all of them. But any questions on things you've seen today or the workshop in general, we'd love for you to stay on and chat. A bit of a lock-in for the extra 15 minutes. And then if after that you've still got any questions or you wanted to reach out separately, can take a note of my details there. And I'd love to have you get in touch. You can always book in a meeting. So if anyone's got any questions, if they want to unmute themselves. So, okay, so Nicola's asked a question there about the recurring task folder. So when you date a task in Microsoft To Do, you can date it for a particular day. So let's say I'm dating it Monday the 1st. And that particular task is update Monday figures. But I do that every Monday. So I don't want to have to put it in my second brain every single Monday. So instead, when you're dating it, just like in your calendar, your Outlook calendar, you can set up a recurring meeting. It works in exactly the same way in Microsoft To Do. And you can recur it weekly, daily, monthly, or annually. So if you click weekly, then every single Monday, that'll be in your second brain waiting for you. You can put a recurring task in any list you like, but I like to have all my recurring tasks in a recurring task list. And that's because it helps me with my rhythm of the week. So if I've got some recurring tasks that I do at the beginning of the month, and then I need to set up another recurring task, I can just check, oh, when would be a good time of the month to do this? When am I not doing loads of other recurring things? So I'm just having a look. Um, would it work if you were sending the poll to people with Gmails? It's a really good question. I've never been asked that question, Ellen. I'm gonna check that for you. I'm not sure. I've never tried it. It's a great question. Ellen, if you send me an email, here's my email address. I'll find out for you and I'll let you know because it's a great question. So we don't all know, we're all learning all the time. That's the thing about Microsoft. You can never stop learning because they're always inventing new things. I'm just checking through. Lots of thank yous. Oh, I've got a question here from Faye. Can you assign a task in to do for someone else? And then can you alert them? So yes, so you can only assign a task in Microsoft To Do to a colleague if they are already sharing that list with you. So if you right click on the list, there's a little icon with two people. That means sharing. So if I was to share a list with my colleague, then I can assign them any task within that list. And yes, they get an email notification that it's been shared with them. So I've had a question from Heather. Um, if you have dated your to-dos, can it link to your calendar? Absolutely, yes, it can. So if you go on your Microsoft calendar in Outlook, there's a little tick on the right-hand side at the top called My Day. And if you click on that, everything that you have flagged to do today in your Microsoft To Do is there, and you can quite literally just drag it across. That works a lot better on the online version of Outlook. It doesn't always drag across quite so tidily in the app version. But it's something that, yeah, I do every day. I have a look at what have I planned to do today, and I decide when in the day I'm going to do it. Can you change the view so you can see more tasks on your screen? Um, in Microsoft To Do, you can't, but in Microsoft Outlook, you can view all your tasks from To Do because it all syncs over. And when you look at them in Microsoft Outlook, you get many more on the page. It does it as a list in different columns, so you can see much more than what I had on my screen. Thanks, Rachel. That was a great question. Ah, Dennis has answered the question on Gmail. Thank you, Dennis. He said if people have logged into Teams via Gmail, it will work. So thank you very much, Dennis. That's brilliant. I'm just checking. No more questions have come through. We've still got quite a few participants online. So please do share a question or a comment if you like. And if you've got any questions that you want to talk about specific to your context, so you want to know if this would be a really good fit for you and your team, I'm just re-putting my email address up there, and you can always email or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Since no questions are coming in, I might talk a little bit about the difference between um, doing it online or doing it in person. We've delivered both. So if you're thinking about it for your team, you might want to think, oh, which is the best option for me? Um, it's really nice in person because you have the opportunity to kind of sit with your colleagues and talk about different apps and how you're going to use those together. So we have lots of discussions when people see Microsoft Planner and Microsoft Lists, and they like to get together and say, "Oh my goodness, that thing we were doing, let's put that on a planner," or let's record it on Microsoft Lists. So that's a real bonus. But there are also bonuses doing it online as well and having people kind of dial in from wherever they are. Um, a real bonus for that is that if people are dialing in from wherever they work, they often have all the bits of paper around their screen. So when they're doing their Microsoft To Do and they're putting all their tasks in, they've got all those post-it notes and things that they can reach out to. So real good pros for either way if you're thinking about it. A few more questions have come in. Can I populate my calendar so people don't think I'm free and book me? I find I have to replicate my second brain sometimes to preserve my time. Yeah, and for us at Think Productive, we call that stealth and camouflage. Nothing wrong with that at all. On my calendar, sometimes I just put in a block of time and I call it getting stuff done, and that just protects a bit of time on my calendar. So absolutely, Definitely, that's a great tip for anyone listening and thinking about just protecting time, because that's the thing. We can have the best to-do lists in the world. We can set them up in Microsoft or any other platform we like. But if you don't have that time and space to get your work done, then you'll just spend all your time writing lists and not doing them. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. So Faye's asking, is it possible for a colleague who has a task assigned to them in to do to view an email that is associated with the task? I have found that they can't open that email. So I guess the way around that would be either to I think you're presuming the person that you're sending it to uses to do. So I think that's, if you don't already know that, check they're using to do and check they're happy with you to kind of put things straight in their Microsoft to do. And you can do it in two ways. Um, you can either assign it from your own Microsoft to do. If that's not working for you, you can send it as an email straight to their to do by clicking on the flag button and then flagging it for the recipient, and then they'll get an email with the link. Or the other way you can do it is just sending them the email with the task and just put in the subject line for your second brain. And then that way you're saying to them, oh, this is something for you to do later. Can you flag it and put it in your second brain? So all of those ways will work. But I guess it's just coming up with a bit of a manifesto as a team. How do you assign each other things? Because if someone's not using Microsoft to do, that might be a bit problematic. Is there a way to add a task to to-do list if you don't create them directly in the list? I'm just trying to work out what you mean by that, Libby. Is there a way to add a task to to-do list if you don't create them directly in the list? You can't add a task unless it is in a list. But you don't have to create lists, lots and lots of lists. You could just make one list called to do. You don't have to you don't have to create tasks outside of lists, but you can create tasks directly in your task list. It's already there for you. So at the top of Microsoft To Do, you have the Smart menu, and that's your important stuff, your flagged email, and your tasks. You can just make tasks directly in there. You don't even have to create anything below the Smart list. James said, I just tested a poll, emailing it to my own Gmail, and it seemed to work. So that's brilliant. Glad you're starting to explore things and testing them out. And that's what today is all about. That's what this workshop is all about. Just making sure that you find those tools, thinking about that Swiss Army knife that opens up all the things, all the apps in Microsoft, and finding out what works for you. So we've just got a couple of minutes left. There's still a few people left, which is brilliant. Please do continue to check in with any comments or questions. We'll go right to the end to make sure no one's left out. And if you're watching this online, if you're watching the recording back on YouTube and you have any questions, you have my email address too. It doesn't matter if you're watching this next week, next month, next year. Um, you can always come back with questions. And I'd love to connect with our YouTube audience as well. Just keeping the eye on the chat. Nothing new is coming in. We've still got a few people. Lots of thank yous and goodbyes. So if you're leaving us now, it was so lovely to have you join us this afternoon. Enjoy exploring to do and some of the email features as well. I'd love to know how it goes. If you set up your Microsoft To Do and you start flagging things from emails and Teams, let me know on LinkedIn how it's working. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, so Helen's pointing out, yeah, that Microsoft has plans to merge Planner with To Do as well, which is really exciting. If you haven't used Planner before, um, you'll find it in your Swiss Army knife in the waffle. Um, Go and have a look. It's a space for you to essentially do plans and projects either on your own or collaboratively, and everything's arranged in buckets. So if you're planning a conference, you can have a bucket for the kind of pre-planning, the guest list, the you can have a bucket for food and catering or logistics on the day, guest speakers, and anything that is assigned to you or others within that planner goes directly into your Microsoft To Do as well. And Microsoft have plans to merge them together, which is really exciting. Heather, if you can't see the planner on your waffle, um, if you just type it in, there's a little search there as well, because they don't show all the apps on one screen. They tend to show the ones that you use more often. So if you just pop in planner, that should come up for you. Okay, so we've come to the end now. Oh, you found that, Heather. That's brilliant. I've just seen that. So we're coming to the end. So please do keep in touch. We'd love to know how things go for you. And I'd love to connect and chat about how this workshop can help you and your team.